Hey runners, welcome back to the Stretch and Stability series. We're now on episode 11. Okay, let's dive into it. So we'll start with our glute bridge. So you're going to come down onto your backs. And then some cues that I like to think about is first, just make sure your ankles are below your knees. So you don't want to be too close in like this or too far away, okay? So in order to target the glutes, think about having the ankles below the knees. We then want to have the palms facing down into the floor. And the first thing that I want you to think about is just gripping the toes into the floor. So connecting into the floor through the toes, squeezing into the floor. Now, as we roll the hips up, try and think about rolling the spine up one vertebrae at a time. So from the pelvis, you'll be going into the lower back, the mid back, and then the upper back or thoracic region. So first thing, press the lower back into the floor, and then I'm trying to just roll up one vertebrae at a time to bring the hips up off the floor. This is going to allow you to get a true activation through the glutes. If we were extended and open like this, we're going to lose that activation. So really try and tuck the pelvis under or tuck the tailbone under, palms flat into the floor, and then really try and think about squeezing those toes into the floor with the feet straight. Another cue that you can think about to allow you to further activate the glutes is find the sensation of pulling the heels back towards you. So nothing moves, but you want to think about pulling the heels back towards your body. And we're just going to hold here. And we can try and find our breath in this position. So try and breathe into your diaphragm. So expanding the diaphragm, so expanding the belly as you inhale through the nose. And being able to find your breath in this position is really important. It's going to help you to maintain control whenever you're in this posterior pelvic tilt. So through a lot of core exercises where you might find it a challenge to maintain your breath. So we can practice this in a little bit more of an easier position here. So breathing into the diaphragm, expanding the belly. Good, now we're going to go through reps. So we're going to roll the spine down from the upper back and then finishing at the pelvis. And then as we come up, we're doing the same but in reverse. So rolling down from the upper back, trying to just have one part of the body touch the floor at a time, so you're not just coming down all at once. And then finishing into the lower back, into the pelvis. And then we'll go again. So we're pressing the lower back down into the floor, keeping the toes gripped into the floor, rolling up into the mid back, through to the upper back. Finding that sensation of pulling the heels towards you at the top, and then rolling down upper back to mid back to lower back. So that's 2 reps. Let's do 8 here. So rolling off into the upper back, driving the hips up high, but not so high that you start to extend. So just stay within the range that is comfortable for you, where you can maintain that activation through the glutes. Okay, that's 4. Let's go into 5. Rolling the spine down, feeling one part of your back touch the floor at a time. So just trying to feel that sensation of one vertebrae lifting off and one vertebrae rolling down at a time as you come up and down. Okay, so that's 6. Sorry, that's 7. We're going into 8 now. Driving the hips up, feel like you're pulling your heels back towards you and then coming down onto the lower back. Good, so this is an exercise that's really simple and it can be made quite hard if you actually think about what you're doing. We're now going to focus on opening up the hips through external rotation. And to do this, we're just going to take hold of the feet and we're just going to pull the feet in towards the body as much as possible. And then we're going to take a hold of the feet. Now, if you've done a cat-cow, you're going to think about the same motion here. So you're going to think about trying to flex and extend the spine. As you flex the spine, so as you round the spine, I want you to drive the knees in together. And then as you open up and extend, I want you to pull the knees down to the floor. So I'm holding onto my feet. I'm going to pull the knees in and I'm going to flex the spine. I'm also going to tuck the chin. As I drive the knees down, I'm going to open up the chest, open up the spine, lift up the chin. So these are called butterfly cat-cows. Okay, so driving the knees up, flexing the spine, tucking the chin, and then dropping the knees down to the floor. Opening up the chest, dropping the knees as far down to the floor as you can get them. And again, coming in, closing, chin tucked, rounding the spine, and then dropping the knees to the floor, opening up. Feel like you're pulling the chest forwards at the same time. And as with a lot of these positions, don't worry if your range is not the same as mine. You might just come to here, or you might not be able to fully lift the chest. That's totally fine. Just work with what you've got. And over time, as you move through these dynamic movements, you'll be able to improve your range. So putting the chest forward extending the spine as we lower the knees, and then closing the spine in, tucking the chin as we bring the knees up. Okay, let's do 3 more. Knees come up, tuck the chin, round the spine, drive the knees down to the floor. 2 more. Knees come up, tuck the chin, drop the knees down to the floor, open up. See how close to the floor you can get the knees. Last one. Tuck the chin, knees up, lower down to the floor, pull the chest up, extend the spine. Good, let's just hold in this end position, really trying to lift up the chest, really trying to drop the knees down to the floor. And try and find your breath here. Again, breathing into the diaphragm, expanding the belly, lifting the chest. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Let's go back to our glute bridge. So come down onto your backs. And then if you remember before, we're trying to have the ankles below the knees. We're having the palms flat down into the floor. We're gripping the toes into the floor, and then we're rolling the spine up 1 vertebrae at a time. So push the lower back into the floor, roll up with the spine, and then grip into the floor. Feel like you're pulling your heels back towards your body to really deepen that activation into the glutes. And we can go straight into our reps here. So that was 1. Really be conscious of what you're doing. With these mobility exercises, it's all about how you do them and doing them correctly. Good. That's 4. Let's go to 10. Really try and find that sensation of rolling the spine up and down off the floor, forcing you into what's called a posterior pelvic tilt, which is where we get that maximum activation through the glutes. Okay, 3 more. Keep the toes gripped into the floor. 3. Come down a little bit faster for these last 2. 2. And then last 1. And 1. Good. Cool. Let's do 1 more of the butterfly cat-cows. So coming back into a seated position with the feet together. And if you remember, we want to try and pull the feet as close to the body as possible. Again, don't worry if your feet are out here, that's totally fine. I've got decent range here, so I'm able to pull my heels right in towards my body. Take a hold of the feet, chest up, and then we're going to close in as we drive the knees towards each other and tucking the chin. And then we're driving the knees down to the floor, opening up the chest. Pull the chest forwards. Good, and again, closing in. Rounding the spine. Drive the knees down, lift the chest up, lift the chin up. And coming into our 3rd rep, tucking the chin, closing in, opening up the chest, driving the knees down to the floor. That's 4. 5. See how close you can get the knees to the floor. And don't worry if you're not where I am, that's totally fine. 6. 7, we can move a little bit faster. 3 more reps. 8. 9. And last 1. 10, let's hold. Drive the knees to the floor. So we're doing active hip external rotation here, driving the knees to the floor, lifting the chest up. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. You can extend one leg out in front of you, and then you're just going to bring your right foot just above the left knee. And then from here, what I want you to do is just point your toes over to the left. So if my foot was forward, I'd be pointing this way. Over to the side, I'm just pointing the toes down. And then using my hand, I'm just going to pull the foot up towards me. So I'm pulling the foot up. So this is inversion in the foot. So I'm trying to just pull the toes up towards the ceiling and then in towards me. And I should feel this stretch along this region here, which is called the peroneals. And this muscle group, as I mentioned, gets particularly tight from running, as it's required for creating that stability in the lower limb. So I'm just pulling the foot up towards me and up to the ceiling at the same time, whilst also pointing the toes. And then to intensify this, I can just push the heel down as well at the same time. So I'm pushing the heel down, pulling the toes up towards me. And I should be feeling this along the outside from the ankle right up to the knee. If you don't get the stretch right up to the knee, that's totally fine. Some of you might only feel it more into the ankle area. Really just trying to pull the toes up towards the ceiling and at the same time in towards the body whilst pointing the toes. So lots to think about. And we're just going to hold here. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Okay, let's go over to the other side. So extending the right leg, bringing the left foot on top of the right knee. And then first thing we want to think about is just pointing the toes down. So really try and get that toe point. And then from here, we're just taking a hold of the top of the foot. And then we're just trying to twist the foot. So we're pulling the toes towards the body and up towards the ceiling. So it's almost like you're trying to turn the base of the foot up towards the ceiling. And just holding here. Hopefully feeling the stretch along the outside of the lower limb. Quite hard to target this area. I'm really trying to get that twist. So turning the foot up towards the ceiling and in towards the body. Good, let's do 10 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Now just with your feet out in front of you, you're just going to flex the toes up, and then from here we're just going to work into inversion and eversion. So what I mean by that is just bringing the toes in and then out to the side. As you do this, try not to rotate with the knee joint or the hip joint. Okay, so we want to try and lock these two joints and just move through the ankles. So we'll bring both ankles into inversion and then out to the side, eversion. And really just try and isolate the movement to the ankle joint. Good. Keeping the toes flexed up for this variation. 7. So this is more strengthening. 8. 9. And last one. 10. Good. So yeah, we've worked a little bit more into the outside and also just in that exercise more into the inside of the lower limb. We're now going to work more moving forward, so into ankle dorsiflexion, which is your ability essentially to drive your knee over your foot. So we're just going to try and improve this range here. So coming into a lunge position, and then initially we want to have the ankle just below the knee, both hands on top of the right knee in this instance, and we're just going to focus on pushing the right knee over the right foot. And you should feel a little bit of a stretch in the calf here. And just make sure this hip isn't rotating out to the side. So we're just trying to push that right knee over the right foot, over the toes. So this is more passive dorsiflexion. And we're just going to hold here. And really try and push that knee as far forward as you can get it. And then from here, what we're going to try to do is just flex the toes up. Now, it might be difficult, so I'm struggling here to get my toes all the way up, but it's just that activation that is going to get the anterior tibialis firing up and is going to help you to improve your range of motion here. So really try and flex the toes up. So my toes are just coming off the floor. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then take the knee back. So taking the ankle out of the dorsiflexion, and then we're going to try to push forward a little bit further. So hopefully that previous activation is going to help you to find a little bit more range. Good, and then we're going to go again. So try to flex the toes up towards the shin, even if they don't actually lift off. Just trying to find that activation. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come back. And then try to push further forwards. Okay, let's do one more. Lift up. 10, 9, 8. So toes up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come back. And then pushing forwards. Really trying to drive that knee as far forward over the toes as possible. So we're just increasing our ankle joints range of motion here in dorsiflexion, which is your ability to drive your knee over your foot. Okay, let's go over to the other side. And then remember, we're setting up so that we've got the ankle directly below the knee. And then we're first just going to start by holding in that dorsiflexion position. So pushing the knee right over the toes. Make sure that knee is tracking over the toes, so we don't want it to come in or come out. And applying force, so making it more of a passive stretch where you're pushing into it. Good. And then we'll go for that activation, so flexing the toes up. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come up. And then push forwards. See how far forwards you can go. Hopefully you should notice that after you do these activations, your range is increasing. And we'll go again. Lift up, flex the toes up, trying to feel that burn through the front of the lower limb. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And come up. Push forwards again. And we've got one more here. Flex the toes up. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come up. And then just pushing forwards and hopefully noticing that from these contractions, your range has improved, even if it's just a touch. Okay, we're going to just do one more round of the inversion and eversion, just so we're getting a little bit of strengthening through the inner part of the lower limb, the outer part of the lower limb. That dorsiflexion drill is more focused along the front and into improving, obviously, the range of motion in the ankle. So with the toes flexed up, we're just going to bring the toes in and then out to the side. And remember, really trying to isolate this movement just to the ankle, so try not to rotate through your hips or your knees. See how far you can come in, how far you can go out to the side, trying to maximize that inversion, eversion. Okay, let's do 10 more. 3, 2, and 1. Good. Okay, so coming into a quadruped position, what I mean by this is you're just on your hands and knees. And we're going to be going into a bird dog, but first I just want to start by understanding the feeling of extending the hips. So just starting with the left side, extend the leg back behind you, and then trying not to collapse with the lower back. We're just going to try and lift that leg up. Okay, and we're just going to hold there and really try to stay more neutral with the spine and then come down. We'll just do 5 reps here. So that's 1, 2, and try not to rotate the hips. You'll know you're rotating the hip if your leg kind of turns out like this, and you'll feel that from the foot. So we want to try and stay in. We're activating the glutes as we lift. 4, and then last one, 5. Good, let's go over to the right side. Extending the leg back behind you. Also think about pointing your toes as you do this, really trying to stay neutral with the spine, not dumping. Okay, let's go, let's lift. 1, activate the glutes, and down. 2, 3, 4, and last one, lifting up for 5. Good. Okay, come back into the quadruped position, so you're on your hands and your knees. And then applying a similar feeling with the hips, you're going to reach forward with the left hand and extend back with the right foot. So we'll just start with that. So in this quadruped position, I'm going to reach forward with my left hand and then extend back with my right foot. And then I'm going to come back in and I'm going to go on the other side. Reaching forwards, extending back, and trying not to collapse with the spine. So try and avoid dumping in like this. Try and stay nice and engaged through your core. So that's 4 reps. Let's go to 10. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and last one, 10. Good. So we're going to go into a side plank. So the side plank is going to challenge the outside of the core, so into the obliques. Really crucial for creating stability, which is also crucial when you're running. So in the side plank, we're going to go into a bent elbow position. So coming onto your mat, we're gonna bend the elbow, and then we're just gonna drive the hips up. So this is the tension point we want here. We want to try and activate into the obliques. And then I want you to just have the top foot either resting on the bottom foot or it can be slightly behind. Now what we're looking for here is to try and keep an engagement through the glutes and try and pull the shoulders back and down and lift the hips up nice and high. And we're just going to hold in this position here. So we'll hold here for about 20 seconds. And you're really trying to keep the engagement through the glutes. If we're collapsing this way, we're not going to get that true activation into the core. And really trying to lift the hips up here. Try and control and maintain the breath. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Drop down to the floor. I then want you to spin round and come onto your bums, and then hands behind you. So we've got a little bit of shoulder extension here, and we're just going to drive the hips up here and squeeze the shoulder blades together, and then just engage the glutes in this reverse plank position. This is a great position because whilst you're challenging your core, you're also working on a little bit of extension with the shoulders. Don't worry if you can't get that full extended position. If you're down here a little bit, totally fine. Just work to try and activate by squeezing the shoulder blades together. If you work at a desk, this is a really good position for you. If you think about rounding into the desk during your day, you want to try and go against that and try and squeeze your shoulder blades together and then stop there. Good. We're going to go over to the other side on the side plank. So just spin yourself round, and then we've got a bent elbow, and then that foot's on the floor. The other foot can be on top of the foot or can be slightly behind, and then we're lifting the hips up. Really important here to get that activation through the glutes, squeeze the shoulder blades together, and then just holding here, trying to lift the hips up as high as possible. Think about keeping the hips forward. We don't want to rotate back like this. We're trying to activate more into the obliques, and we're going to hold here for 20 seconds. Keep it up, guys. Keep the hips nice and high. Lift up. Keep the glutes on. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lovely. Good. Okay, let's go back to our bird dog. So coming into a quadruped position. So on your hands and your knees. And then we're going for those extensions or finding that sensation of reaching forward and reaching back. So let's go for left hand, right foot. Reach forward and reach back, trying not to collapse with the spine. And we can move a little bit faster now. Also just try to be conscious of where your hip position is. So we don't want to rotate out to the side. Try and stay nice and linear and grounded in this motion. Good. Okay, we're gonna go for 10 reps. So coming into 7, 8, 9, and last one, 10. Good. Okay, just take a little rest in this quadruped position, and we're soon going to go into the side plank. Okay, so from here, we're just going to come over onto the side, keeping the elbows bent, and then driving the hips up. We can either have one foot on top of the other, or the foot behind. Really try and drive the hips up, glutes engaged, shoulders back and down, and holding in this position here. Also, just make sure that you're not with the shoulder behind the elbow. We want to have that shoulder above the elbow. And we're just going to hold here 10 more seconds. 5, 4, hips up high. 3, 2, and 1. Good. Drop down. Okay, hands come behind you. We're going to go into our reverse plank. Just take a little rest from that side plank. And remember, in this position, we're trying to squeeze the shoulder blades together, open up the chest, but whilst maintaining that activation through the glutes. So let's go. Let's drive the hips up, shoulder blades together, glutes on. And we're just going to hold here. Let's get to 30 seconds here. Remember, if you're down here, if you're not where I am, I've got good mobility in my shoulders. If you're just here, that's totally fine. Just try to think about squeezing the shoulder blades together. Find your breath. Got 10 more seconds here. You've got this, guys. Keep it up. 3, 2, and 1. Good. Drop down to the floor. We're going to go over to the other side. So starting on top of the elbow, make sure that shoulder starts over the elbow. One foot down on the floor, the other foot on top or behind. Hand can go on the hip, glutes engaged, shoulders back. And then really try to just lift this hip up here to create more of a challenging static position. We want to try and get that hip up nice and high. Keeping the glutes engaged. 10 more seconds. Make sure the hips are facing forward so you're not twisting around. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Cool. Take a little rest. We're going to just do one more bird dog, and then we're going to move away from our core and stability work. So just take 10 seconds. I certainly need it. Okay, coming into the quadruped position on your hands and knees. And let's go. So we're extending the right leg back, reaching forward with the left hand. So let's go. Trying not to collapse into the lower back. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, last 2, 9, and 10. Good. Hold on, guys. That concludes our core and stability work. Okay, good job today. Hopefully you're feeling more mobile, more connected in your body. Hope to see you soon.